I noticed our ad this time around hasn't been as quick to pick up um, steam as the first ad. So I regret even stopping it because honestly, once it has momentum, you shouldn't stop it. But
Right.
you live and you
Were you
learn.
getting like right now I'm looking at mine. Like right now it's giving me like 31 points on improvement. So it's giving me all these areas that I could improve on. You
Hmm.
know, of course, one of them is of course increase the budget, and I've got it set to $10 a day.
Yeah.
But the other was like connect my CRM to it, which I'm not even using a CRM. And the other one was to, I guess, set one of the ads so it could be, how do you say that? So it could run as a story, like the sizing of it. But
Yep.
I've not done any of the recommendations yet. I just wanted, like, kind of like you did. You just set it. You try to set as little resistance as possible. Not do anything majorly complicated. Just pretty simple, straightforward, right?
Yeah. And the things they're talking about there, like for example, the one you talked about with the reels, they give us
Mhm.
the same recommendation to for Instagram reels, you should have a video, vertical video reel. And that should give you an 8% cheaper cost per impression or whatever. But that's not, they're not saying they're going to give you an 8% cheaper price to advertise. All they're saying is from
Right.
all the stats that they have, on average, the reels do 8% better. So it's
Got it.
not
Yeah,
necessarily going to save you 8% of your money, but it's just a
sure.
recommendation. Yeah.
So I figured I
Um,
would let it play out a week and see how it goes.
yeah, I would give it a little bit more time to run. Have
Yeah.
you gotten, did you basically just copy my video? You have like a form?
Yeah, I got the form, and I literally even used the button apply now.
Yeah.
So, and what I'm doing, I know there's reports I can run, but I've literally had it set up like I'm running a clock. So about every 6 hours, I'm for sure doing a screenshot so I can look back at like the reach, the impressions, and because I want to be able to gauge when I got the first lead. And again, I'm sure I can run a report after the fact to figure
Mm.
that out. But anyways, I don't know.
Yeah.
As much data as I can for anyone else that's interested.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Hmm.
But I appreciate everything you've been doing, man. I mean, you're pretty freaking transparent, so that's awesome.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
I sleep well at night.
as we all should, right?
Yeah. Someone asked Megamind, what was it? They asked Megamind what's a creative way to get new clients, basically. And Megamind responded, bring a plant into their store or business and then place it somewhere like in their lobby and then show up every day to water it until they ask you about it. And then once they ask you why you're there, then you introduce yourself and introduce the card. So that's it. That's a way to
Oh, that's
stand out.
funny.
That's just the thing that Megamind can think of that nobody else can.
Right.
It's trained on every second of all these calls we've ever done. Literally every little bit of content that's out there about the 9x12 method. It knows everything. And I made sure to train it to be extremely transparent. So there's that too. It sleeps well at night.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Man, I started this. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit because my background is literally sales and marketing, business for self. But I started watching, I guess, Jake's video. I'd have to look the exact time frame, but it was like right at the beginning of the year. And so I remember when he interviewed you,
Mhm.
and then I've kind of watched your video kind of popped up. And so I was watching. Obviously, I try to pop on his live calls, but it's rare. Usually it's recorded. Everything's recorded.
Yeah.
And like today I literally had to sit there, even though I'm like now I'm on my job, I'm trying to tune in a little bit. But so I started working, kind of putting all this together and then started calling on businesses, kind of jam. But then when I put everything together, when I say everything, like, DBA, business account, business banking account, things like that. And then I actually started calling customers to take money a couple months ago. So I'm still working on filling up the first card. That's why it's embarrassing because it's the pressure's on when you hear people like, yeah, they put together their first card in a couple of weeks. It's like it's a that good crunch, that good press. You're like holy, the good squeeze. Like holy cow! But I've not done the emailing consistently like you've talked about. I just jump out there literally face to face for a couple hours at a time, meet as many people as I can, and try to gain as much interest. And I mean, literally, I've had a few pay, but their money's just sitting there, so
Yeah.
that's not a good.
Yeah. And honestly, that's way more effective than email anyway. If you're willing to go out in person, that's definitely on average you're gonna make more sales that way. And as for their money, as
Right.
long as like unless they have a specific sale that they're trying to run on a specific date, or they have like an event that they're trying to advertise that they paid you for,
Mhm.
99% of the businesses do not care when it goes out. As long as you're transparent with them about like how you're working on it, and you give them like a general date range. But once it gets closer to that date range, you can be honest with them if you feel like you're gonna have to push it back, and use that as a chance to leverage them. Say, hey, I'm working really hard to get this filled up for the dates that we're talking about. It's been a little bit slow. Do you know anybody who might be interested in this? And then they'll give you a bunch of referrals. So then it's like a teamwork thing rather than like, sorry,
Sure.
I'm behind. I'm really sorry. Rather than apologizing, you make it like, let's work together on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. When people
Okay,
ask,
too, like, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
All right, just a quick question to follow up on that. Like, say you're having trouble closing, you have two more spots to fill. Do you do like any kind of affiliate? Like, hey, like, is it ethical? Is it cool? Do you guys do it like a kickback on the back end for that business owner doing the legwork for you and referring a friend?
Typically, I offer a discount for like future months. So like if they're gonna refer somebody, I'll give them $100 off their next month rather than just paying them $100 back. But it's ethical to give them a kickback either way, however you want to do it. But I prefer to entice them to
No,
join for another month by giving the discount.
your way is better. I like it. Right on. Thanks.
Yeah, referrals are huge. That helped me a lot on my most recent card. One lady, because I was transparent and said, one of these so one of the advertisers were going to buy an entire side of the card, and it was somebody who I trusted a little more than I should have because I already had a relationship with them, and I didn't do what I teach, which is don't save a spot for anybody unless they actually pay. And they backed out, and so I was left very far behind because I was expecting a whole side to be sold out. So I reached out to some of the advertisers, and one lady sold two double slots for me. So four slots she sold for me, which was pretty great.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be willing to help, and it helps them understand that
Hey, Mitch.
your job isn't easy either. What's up?
Hey, quick question, because I've been trying to get this rolling last couple of months. This is Bob, and maybe the group could intertwine something here too. But when I got started, I saw your video. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. But a friend had turned me on to your video, right? So she said, hey, you go out and get all the sales. You do the follow up. Get the payment, and I'll do is it the canvas, and design the ads. So we split it.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering from you guys, is that really 50-50? Because if I use the example of 16 slots at 500, that's 8,000. And if I came to you, Mitch, you would do the printing and the mailers for about 4,000, right? Is that still correct?
Yeah, with the
So
total fulfillment. Yeah.
yeah, and I was going to let you do that, and then she goes, "Oh, I'll do that. I'll take that part." So I'm paying. So we're kind of splitting the 4 grand, and I'm thinking, is that 50-50, guys? Do you think? Because I'm getting a lot of no's, I'm getting a lot of not yet, things like that, and I'm just trying to think. Well, 16 sales for maybe around 2 grand or less, kind of is like, oh boy, you know. So if I was to split it, is that fair? I guess so to speak, because I'm not the techie, so It's like,
I,
okay, I will get the
I
sale,
can
but
get
here.
I would say it comes down to economies of scale. You'd have to do a lot more cards. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, now I'm thinking, let's break that partnership. I'll go do it and send the other half just to Mitch and let him run with the design and
Yeah, I mean
with
our design is cheap. It's not going to cost you $4,000. Like it sounds like you're splitting the
yeah,
card for $4,000 basically. The design is we
yeah.
charge $25 a slot, which is basically just below industry average, and our guy's amazing. And unlimited revisions. So yeah, that's something to
got a
think
take on
about
that.
for sure.
So maybe just say, hey, listen, I got like 13 more to go, and I'm doing it for the $2,000. Yeah, I'm thinking, is this really worth it? You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Versus doing it for $4,000, about approximately.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see what
But
you're
isn't
saying.
that a lot
Yeah.
for her time
I
and
definitely got
effort?
an opinion on that.
All right, I'm
Hello?
yours. I'm listening.
Hey, Bob, this is Eric. Hey, everyone. I would definitely say I had a situation somewhat similar to that. I definitely, like Joel said, required this person to do a lot more. So she was doing social media. She was gathering leads. I mean, because that is a big, I mean, because in reality, this business is almost built that you could do it by yourself. In essence, if you wanted to do wear all the hats, but most people don't want to wear all the hats, and nor should they, because it's really kind of hard to scale with that aspect of it. So, yeah, there was definitely a requirement because I literally supplying the person with everything. They just needed to plug in, learn. They didn't need to learn everything, but there was other things that required them to do. So I would definitely revisit that commitment. Maybe go with it this time, but just lay it out and say there's going to be more requirement than just designing an ad, because with the templates and Canva you can do that yourself if you don't want to give it to Mitch and his team or someone else. So I get it. You kind of want to. Some people are not great, and nor should they be doing certain things because it just slows up the process. But that's a lot. That's why I'm sure she's a nice person, but
Yeah.
or it could be he. Yeah.
And okay, so kind of finish maybe one card and then kind of move over to Mitch and have him do the other half.
Or have
Because
her do other stuff. I mean, do you do more than just this, Bob? Or attempting to
yeah, I
do this?
do.
Do you do? Okay. In essence, that you could, yeah, maybe try to spread it out somewhere, but don't look at getting an employee. You got to have some value there for yourself and her, and yeah, maybe a lot.
I'm just
Yeah.
thinking 50-50.
If you're doing all the sales and what she's doing is design, in my honest opinion, design is maybe 20% of the physical work. And I'm sure she's not like purposely like trying to, take advantage of you, but
No.
because she might not be very fast at design and might not realize that it can be outsourced and things like that. So it might just make sense to pass some of the responsibilities to her, like collecting the lead list, which is very time intensive. So if you're doing that, that could be something that she could potentially take over. So she would collect the leads. That way you could spend more time making calls and making more sales. You guys would be more efficient together if you guys spread out the work a little bit more.
Okay, thanks. So I'm getting ripped off.
Not necessarily, but
Well,
yeah.
if you
Yeah,
you
Okay.
distribute it,
It's a good gesture.
All
Okay.
right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, because the sales is the hardest part. Definitely if you're doing it in person, for sure.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah,
got
in
if you got
person.
that down packed, yeah, you can shake hands and kiss babies. Then everything else is easy. Easy. You can get the money after that.
Amen.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Amen. Thanks, guys.
No problem.
well, bye. Okay.
Hello? That must have been an accident.
Hey, Mitch.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, hey, Ron. You mind if I ask you a question? Because I wasn't quite sure I sent you a message in the school group. So because I was on the call with Jake. I don't know. I don't know if you were just kind of teasing or if you were serious. Were you really? People, let's be honest. We're all adults here. Is people giving you shit? Really? Is people giving you this crap about doing what it is you're doing, or taking a bull by the horns and kind of doing your thing your way? Or
I
you
was I was teasing a little bit. I was
you were
teasing.
teasing?
There
Okay.
are there are people, there's
All right.
definitely there's trolls and like certain like super fans of his that despise me and they make it very clear. Not really sure why, but it doesn't actually bother me. That was kind of it was kind of a joke. I
Okay.
don't know if
All
I don't know if
right.
you took it that way, but
I did and I did. I said, wait a minute. I said, well, just let me just say something because this will be
yeah.
my first interaction with you. I like what you doing. I've been with Jake a long time, long time. So old school with that. So it was a little different at first. I was like, hey, who's this young guy? But I like the style. And I actually, I'll be very transparent. As I reached out to him, I was like, look, this guy, because I mean, people, when it's kind of used to something and like, who's this outsider? But he was like, he's a great young man, and he's gonna do. He has a good spirit, a good heart, and he's gonna do the right thing. And he had given you his blessing. And I was like, all right, okay, go ahead. Because I was like, wait, because I'm not in the Facebook group because I just despise Facebook, but that's neither here nor there. So if you're in it, I didn't, get any interaction with you. But I like what you're doing with everything. So it's
Well,
awesome, man.
I appreciate
Way
that a
to
lot.
break it up to it's good quite well. I'm nobody, but I like what you got going on, brother.
Means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. How long have you
sure.
been in it?
I probably did my first art in 2015. But I kind of
Uh,
broke away because I owned my own business outside of that, and I was the CMO for my former wife's business, so I had a lot going on, and um, I just kind of just broke away from it. I did probably about 10 cards or so, I think, at the time. Put
Nice.
my own different spin on it, and then just kind of came back within the last 6 months. Been kind of pedaling around because I own another business, actually in the home service niche, and like I said, I need to get back to this because it's for me. It's a free uh, distribution for advertising for me. So for sure, one spot out of those 16 fit to me for sure. And I thought about putting a product together for the community and things like that. I would probably be more of a giveawayer than to actually try to do business, and make money for it. Because I believe in, as much as I am in the community, even though I'm not in the elite group in the Facebook, because it's enough out there for everybody. So I
Eric, if you
didn't
don't
want to
mind
make
me
a
asking,
product.
what's your primary? So if you're taking an ad spot, I'm just really just
Oh, home
curious.
service. Oh, yeah. HVAC, electrical, and plumbing. So here's how I
Nice.
do it. If you guys don't mind me elaborating on it.
I don't
So
mind. I asked
Please.
you.
yeah. So if I uh, um, HVAC is the bigger ticket. So that's a given. So if somebody comes in the door, through the HVAC, so if they want plumbing or electrical, perfectly fine. But it still allows me to go after just a pure person who just does electrical, person just does plumbing. The requirement for me is because I've been in the industry so long. So I came in the industry I'm not an electrician, not a plumber, not an HVAC guy. I came in. I used to be the vice president of marketing for Verizon for about 8 years, and so my company came in. Um, well, Horizon came in is to offer tablets and smartphones to the home service industry, kind of at the onslaught of like tablets and iPhones. So 2006, 7, 8, in that range. So I've been in essence ancillary to the industry, and I got a chance to learn a lot about the industry. So it allowed me to become more of just understanding what a lot of those mom and pop business owners don't know is how to run a business on the back end. So I was able to buy me and a partner into a home service company. So that loan soliloquy is so I hold that spot, and they could do let's say they're an electrician and they could do HVAC and plumbing as well, but they can only go on the car for the electrical. So once they get a lead in the door, they can offer them whatever. I don't even care about any of that, but I will hold a spot for HVAC because that's a bigger ticket item than the other ones. And so I kind of got a plan and formula how that works and upsells and things like that because I wanted to try to, because I come from a marketing background, probably the majority of a lot of you, or you might even been born. I just got good genes. I just look young, maybe like Mitch, look young. But so this is the card is just a foot in the door for other services that I offer. So if I got a business, then I can upsell them on tracking, like a tracking number, QR code, other marketing services. That's what I do. So just like Jake said and Mitch said, it just allows me to just kind of ride along with everything else. But I definitely have other things that I look to be able to upsell them with that. No, that's a long soliloquy, but Mitch, hope you don't mind me kind of talk about that because Joel asked. But yeah.
No, this isn't my act. This is a round table, so I'm glad other people are talking. I like when other people yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
How would you say things have changed since 2015 in this business? Are business owners any different to talk to or anything?
Well, just kind of depend. I'm very picky about the businesses I target. They have to already have been marketing. I know I'm probably saying things that everybody already knows, and Jake and Mitch and everything teach. They have to have already been proven to have been spending money in some aspect of it, because if you don't, it is definitely an uphill battle. And it's nothing against them, but a lot of business owners, they choke on $500. They're like, oh, $500, I can't. And I'm like, you can't not afford to spend this money, because I'm standing in here and I'm just being facetious and just making up something. But I'm standing in here, it's only me and two of the customers in there, and it's lunchtime. How are you getting business? I don't understand how you are in business. And I get it. I, to a certain degree, I am kind of biased on there, but I'm sure if you guys have been around any point in time, I have heard. I mean, you're not in the business of doing what it is you do. You're in the business of marketing what it is you do. I think that's an old Dan Kennedy. I'm almost positive it's an old Dan Kennedy thing. Shout out to Dan Kennedy. And it's absolutely true. And just because I have the experience in businesses, I've worked with a lot of different businesses. I tell them, if you're buying your plate, your utensils and the food, whatever it is, and you have no money left over, you're not really in business, because you're not getting new customers. I mean, like that, whatever someone says today, how do you, what was the thing today? How do people, not how people find you? Somebody said something, made a statement about that. But so I'm also soliloquy. I do, back in the day, I charged less, but today I hold strongly to $650. I might do a $350 if I want to be generous. But I tell somebody, I said, if I do a $350, because I normally do a $650, you got to find a person to do the $350 to match with you. Because if you don't, then it kind of messes up the flow of everything. So, and I'm not afraid to talk to business owners, because I will hone this in. Even if you're doing this as part-time, you are a business owner. even if you're only doing DBA. But if you're really a business and doing this as a business, you are a business owner. So to come from them and says, hey, I get it. I understand, but let me help you as a business owner, you know, achieve what, I'll ask them questions. What is your dream? Why did you start this business? And so once they see you on their side and they can kind of let their hat down and not view you as a salesperson, it's a lot easier. But again, I'm just being biased because it's me, because I'm not afraid to talk to another person because they put their pants on. Well, I guess if a woman a dress, I don't wear dresses as anybody else. And so if you come from that aspect, and again, if they say it's not for them, it's not for them. Don't take it personal. Just move on. If it's email or in person. Yeah, yeah.
That
So
tactic you gave about the half slot is awesome, actually. It's pretty sweet. I never thought of that because so the tactic you gave was if they want a half slot, if they want like a $350 slot rather than 650 because they have a
hmm
smaller budget, you force them to bring
hmm
somebody on with them. So you're just encouraging them to bring on a second advertiser, which I got rid of those smaller spots completely on my cards because I noticed they
I
do
used
mess
to,
up the
yeah.
flow. They're like almost just as hard to
hmm
sell. But if somebody's going to offer you $350, you might as well give them what they want as long as they're going to bring somebody else along with them. And it increases your profits anyway because now you're making $700 from the full slot for no extra work. So that's how you
Right,
leverage
right.
leverage them. That was huge. I like that.
Yeah, and be authentic about it, and just tell them. I'm going to say, hey, if I'm, hey, isn't, if I, normally we hold to the 650 spot, but and be authentic and genuine. I like you, and I want to truly help you out because you need it. Most of them they need it, and just say, hey, who do you know? So it kind of goes back to what you might mention, 10 minutes ago. Who do you know? They know somebody, and but here's the thing, let's call her now, or him now, or them now. And tell them what you're doing. Say, hey, I'm talking to this, this person, this Eric, and he has this, and I think it would be great for you. And then, have a commitment. I mean, if you need the money, or you want to do it, then you could just do it for 50. But I definitely try to have them bring somebody else along, um, you know, with them to do that. They got to give me a referral and not just, oh yeah, I got somebody right now. Let's do it right, right now. Or I tell you what, when should I come back? Speak with it. Oh, give me a couple of days. Let me, talk to Bob or whatever. Okay, perfect. My next door neighbor owns a landscaping business. So there's that type of thing. Yeah, yeah. I've worked for a little bit of time that it just got to be too much to a certain degree because a lot of uh, in this community are, I mean, community in essence of Mitch's community and Jake's community. A lot of people, they're good at the stuff in the background. They're not they're introverts who are truly introverts. I just happen to be an introvert who pretends to be an extrovert. Actually, I'm pretty quiet. I'm pretty laid back, but um, I've gotten thick skin over these years in sales and things. So I had offered a service of where I would just, if you got the leads, I would call them. If you got, well, if I was in person, somebody I would work in that way. But then it just got to be a little bit much for me. It wasn't balancing out. I would have definitely took the half with. I'll call them. I'll email them, set all your stuff up. I'll take care of that. But I guess I work in sales. It's just a no brainer for me. I didn't. I cried and boohooed many decades ago, so I didn't got the thick skin. Which, by the way, HVAC is the hardest to sell. I would absolutely tell you, it absolutely is. Absolutely, in my humble opinion. So, yeah.
Jacob
Mhm.
asked you how long it takes you to sell out a card.
Because I just restarted, I've been poking along, but it typically could take me probably I'd say less than 6 weeks, 4 weeks. My fastest was two weeks. Yeah, it was definitely the 2 weeks, but I had to hit it hard. And I had to have things in place. I had to. It wasn't by happenstance. You got to know who you're talking to. You got to have a plan. You got to know all the things that goes along, with it versus just kind of doing a little bit here. You got to, cliche as it is, you got to treat it like a business, and it'll pay you. What I like about what you say mentioned is it is. Uh, do you want to? Not that nobody doesn't have a great job. They don't work for a great company. Don't have a 401k. Might have been there for years, but what's important to me for various reasons is the thing that none of us could get back time. We can't get back time. And it wasn't like the market now, job market isn't, or the career landscape isn't like, because I'm an older Gen Xer, I just look young because of good genes. Um, People don't stay at companies 20, 30 years anymore, whether you want to go or they want you to go. So what is going to be your plan? What is going to be your North Star for that? And this is an easy business to do per se versus a lot of the other businesses that you could start on there. I don't want to be in somebody's hot attic. I don't want to be under somebody's water heater. I don't want to be messing around with somebody's electrical stuff. If I can use those example, time is everything for me. We can't get those back, guys, and this is a pretty, the average person in America doesn't make 4 grand a month or on a card. And when if you start making it fun and you really are really true to helping small business owners, after a while, I just feel personally just kind of it's something you should be doing. You should be doing. Absolutely.
Yeah, I resonate with all
I've been
that.
talking enough.
I mean,
Sorry, gentlemen.
it feels it feels kind of unfair to like know about this business because like you said, like the
True.
average person does not make $4,000 in a month and we're like the amount
Mhm.
of it just feels like the balance of difficulty to income with this business is
Mhm.
unreal compared
Yeah.
to other businesses.
Mhm.
So I could see why I do get hate online because it does sound pretty fake when I'm preaching it everywhere, but it
Yeah.
is crazy
Yeah.
for the people who have actually
Yeah.
experienced it. And it is awesome for like the video I just made for retirees. Like you can make some friends. It's harder for me because a lot of business owners are much older than me, so I feel like it's hard to make friends with a lot of these people. But for I
Mhm.
feel like it's a great business if you're just trying to make connections, as long as you go about it the right way and you're not just trying to sell people, but you actually just make relationships with these people. You can make
Mhm.
connections along the way, and then it's like it's a lifestyle, not a not
Right.
necessarily a sales business.
Yeah. And I'm a people person anyway. I've been that in my entire life, so it's natural for me to see other people win. I love to see other people win. Some people don't, or they don't care either way. But I love to see people with actually don't tell her my military buddies this, but they probably know this already. It makes my heart feel good. It definitely makes my heart feel good to see other people, at least what part I can play in them, realizing their dream of why they started a business and things like that. That's a lot of them. It's hard being a business owner. Definitely if you don't have any support or you've had support and it kind of died down or you have a spouse or a significant other, won't you go get a real job versus trying to, all those things that some of us probably have heard and a lot of these business owners have heard and they've kind of lost the passion and the passion in the why they start business and they're kind of on an island by themselves and I think that's another reason when you're talking to them to say hey I get it I get you and sometimes I'll give them my stories. I mean, I've had failures. Nothing has ever been, you know, perfect. Although my former wife has a multi-million-dollar business because of me, but neither here nor there. She did, but she's good at what she did, and I'm good. And what I did was bringing in customers, but it was, yeah. So Yeah. But those people who don't want to come in, um, just again, like somebody don't want to be on the card. You know, nothing personal. And if you think it's a, you know, you think this is a some kind of scam or something, you know, those would be the most. Even if they came in, they would be the big criers all the time. In reality, they don't even want to do the work, so they want the easy money, and there's no easy money pretty much for I guess everywhere. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And for, I've never experimented with this, but this is something somebody could experiment with. For people who might have a price objection, like because they don't necessarily believe in it, experiment with this, but maybe set up some sort of agreement where you get to decide, or you guys decide together, but you get to approve what their offer is going to be, and you'll give them a massive discount for cash up front, like charge $200 for a slot, but you get, depending on the industry, you get $50 per lead that comes through that card. But you got to make sure it's trackable and make sure you have an agreement in place for something like this. But make sure it's trackable, so it would be a lead, like some kind of form that you have access to. And whatever number of leads go through that form, no matter if they convert them or not, you get $50. That's your job. It's their job to convert them. So make that clear to them. But that could be a way for you to make honestly more than the $500 off the slot because you're taking on the risk up front by offering them it for $200. Um, but yeah, you got to make sure you actually have you set up a good offer that will attract a lot of leads. So that means you need a little bit more marketing savvy. And I just thought of another video that I could put out, which is I might just make a YouTube video going over all different types of offers for different types of industries that you
Mhm.
guys can recommend to your clients. So I'm gonna take note of that right now.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah, you can be, I guess, position is like affiliate marketing because that's a hard industry to get into for people who just do affiliate marketing, but they're thinking about it like the online affiliate marketing. You can do affiliate marketing in the area that you live in, and you said, hey, you know, I'll help you design the ad. Obviously, because that's already done, I'll help you craft the right offer. But yes, like Mitch said, you know, you can't measure what you can't track. So you got to have it to make sure that you're finding a way to make sure nothing falls, you know, falls through the crack to just make sure, yeah, okay, I might even give you a free ad. So think about this, and I have this on my radar. Hope you don't mind me sharing this, do you, Mitch? Do you mind me sharing? Okay, so let's say you have a company that has a higher dollar amount item. So let's say it's one of those, depending on where you live at, but where I live at, there's a lot of those um, uh, uh, ATV vehicles, you know, the four wheels and stuff like that. You know, the average cost on that is $8 grand or better. They may not even have or even know what an affiliate program is. So let's say you went to a company that does that or a local dealer or something, and you said, "Hey, I'll design the ad, I'll put the ad, I'll put a number. You can get a tracking number, you can get everything to make sure you know that the lead came over to them. So yeah, you can maybe sell it as a lead service additionally. So every lead, $50. Or you say, hey, if it sells, and Bob buys from you, Tom, you know, I get 10% or 20% or whatever the number is. So no money out of their pocket at all. They lose nothing at all. And they'd be willing to do that. I think it's a, I would, if I was a business owner, I'd much rather do my own ad so I can get all the money. But they may be like, okay, if I don't have to pay you anything, you know, kind of think of like Grouponish of it. Yeah, okay, you do it. You're gonna take care of everything. I don't have to come out of my pocket with any money. Nope, not at all. But I will be tracking everything. I will make sure, you know, if something comes through, I know that it came through, and I go from there. So, Mitch, you're muted, Mitch.
Kind of like a lead gen agency, but postcards. That's that's
Yes,
new. Yeah.
yes, and that's what I did. I did that to figure out. Well, I had didn't figure it out. I got a whole. I guess I could have put out a product, but I didn't want to. But that's just an additional way to get, because respectfully, unless this is a, I just need enough. And just think of Jeff Bezos just wanted enough to buy a nice big fancy car and a nice big house. We wouldn't have Amazon. So, you can get, that's how you get beyond just the few grand, a month or on a car, figure out other ways to increase the dollar amount, and the money that you're bringing into your business.
Definitely, that's cool.
Will, I want to connect with Will.
Will's the man.
I think Will has some awesome products that I need to know how to use. Will, I'll be contacting you, Will.
It's
like
fine.
a bundle for, because I follow you on YouTube. So yeah, I'm gonna be on that. I just wanna, yes. So we'll talk. Thank you, man. Let me get off, man. I'm just like, it's my show. Let me get off my.
Nah, don't get off. You stay right there. But I'll answer some questions in the chat. There's a few. Fiend O asked how long they should give themselves to sell out their first card. I've been recommending 6 weeks because it would typically take around a week for printing. So that'll give you around 5 weeks or a week and a half for printing, depending on what service you're using. But it'll take you about 5 weeks to sell. But summertime is a little slower. So I'm going to recommend one extra week this time. So I would give yourself 7 weeks. As long as you're willing to actually put in the work consistently for those 7 weeks, then you should have no problem selling out a card. If you just follow, consistent schedule and you're consistently working, 5 days a week, then that shouldn't be a problem at all. And then what else do we have? 10,000 or 5,000 cards. I love it. So in my opinion, which so many people disagree and so many people agree, so either way works. But I believe in 5,000 cards because in my opinion, from what I've seen, small businesses care more about budget than value in most cases. So what I mean by that is in order to do the 10,000 cards, you're going to have to charge much more money in order to make the same amount of profit. So what does that mean for the small businesses? Now they're looking at a $700 price point rather than $500. So they might be paying, 7 cents per door instead of 10 cents per door for 5,000 cards. But so it might be a better deal for the 10,000 cards for the business, but it's $700. It's way more than $500. So the value might be better, but it's just more money for them to even imagine paying per month. So I don't know if I described that very well, but in order to sell 10,000 cards and make the same amount of profit, you're going to have to be charging a lot more, which small businesses might get more afraid of. And a lot of people in our group have mentioned that they've had trouble selling those higher price points and have gone down to the 5,000 cards and sold lower price points and make the same amount of profit, but have easier sales. So that's my opinion on 5,000 cards. But people do 10,000 cards plenty successfully.
Hey, Mitch, where do you have those numbers? I know I've seen them somewhere.
In terms of like the breakdown?
Yeah, like for doing 5,000 cards. Where do you have those numbers?
We have a profit calculator actually, so you can put in how many cards you're doing, what fulfillment service, what the exact prices are of your ads and everything. So I'll drop that link in the chat.
Perfect. Thank you. I have seen it. I just have been rethinking this.
I believe it's 9x12method.com/profit calculator -profit calculator. Yep, that's it. It's in the chat. Let's see, what else do we have? Kim says, what's the typical number of contacts in a database consist of? I have about 900 in my database and have reached out in some form to about half of them and have not made a sale yet. So you've reached out to about 400, 450 contacts and have not made a sale yet.
Yes.
So have you reached out to most of them over email?
Yeah, and I've done some cold calling, and some I've emailed and called. Some
Gotcha.
have asked for more information or given me an email address of the person that I need to reach out to. Restaurant owners are typically not in. I'm told to call after a certain time. It's just variable on that.
Yeah. So are you getting responses to your emails?
Couple. I've gotten a
Do,
couple.
a couple. Do you think there's any chance, has it slowed down? Do you think there's any chance that you're going to spam now and that's why people aren't really responding?
I thought about that and I've tried different forms. I've changed my email up, short, some a little bit longer. It's just, I don't know, not working.
You should send me your exact email script that you usually send. Send it to 9x12method@gmail.com. And that way I can tell you if it, then message me in school to let me know you sent it. And I can tell you if it went to spam or not. And I can also see like the exact script you're using.
Okay, and I have
Yeah.
used your script that you have in the classroom tab.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, email isn't the most effective way, but 400 definitely, it's interesting that you haven't had too much traction yet. What is your location? Are you in like a huge city or what are you
Yes.
targeting? And are you saying it's going to like 5,000 cards in Boston, or are you saying it's going to 5,000 cards in this specific neighborhood?
Oh, yeah, it would be like a Boston thing. Yeah, so I guess I need to narrow that down.
Yeah, that would definitely help, especially yeah, if you narrow it down to a specific neighborhood or zip code, but you can usually they have smaller names that you can actually
Okay,
name drop. I would recommend doing that because it
okay,
sounds like a lot less of a drop in the bucket and more targeted. And you could even if you're targeting higher income homes in that area, that might be beneficial depending on the prospect you're reaching out to.
okay. And when I call, I do, the receptionists are usually very receptive to what I have to say. And I've been in residential sales like you for nearly 30 years. And I can tell you this is it's definitely different because when you're calling a homeowner, they don't want to talk to you. But I'm
Mm.
calling businesses and they do want to hear what you have to say. It's just the interest for some reason is not going anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing I noticed about, I mean, so I've sold in a very small town and I've sold in larger city and a larger city. And once I got to the largest end, I noticed it was actually harder to sell because and I'm assuming this is just a guess, but I think it's because they already have such a large, dense population around them. They don't necessarily feel like they need to do as much advertising. If it's just like a storefront, they already get decent foot traffic in front of them. That's just my theory. If they're like central in the city. So I don't know if so you haven't made sales yet, so it's not too late to switch locations and maybe target like a suburb or somewhere more outside of the city.
I
That
thought about
way,
that.
yeah, you might find businesses that would be more happy. And then you could say it's going to this neighborhood in the middle of the city, so then they can drag people out to them.
Okay.
So
Just real quick, I wanted to hop on here. This is my first time on a call, but I've been doing this for about a month now. I just got my first card out a few days ago. I
nice.
just wanted to share something that helped me out a lot. With like when you're starting out and people are kind of like, who is this? Are they trying to scam me? Like that kind of stuff. I started going to BNI meetings. If you guys have those in your area, like you can just Google BNI my area. And if you go just visit, you can look up the chapter and what time they meet. You go in there, they give you 30 seconds to go to do your pitch on it in front of all the business owners.
Huh.
And that breaks down some walls. Because then after you go on that same BNI website, it has a list of all the business owners in that group, and you can reach out to them and be like, "Hey, I saw your business at the BNI. I was a visitor," and then they know that you're like a real person, that you're in the actual area, and you're not trying to scam them out. It just kind of builds that trust, and that really kicked off some stuff for me. So I just wanted to share that in case anyone else was struggling with that kind of stuff. So
That's awesome advice. There's a few people in our group that have had a ton of success with the BNIs. I never tried it, but people have been killing it in there. Sounds like Will Bradwell does too. We got 23 members on today. Not bad. Some people might be in work. I noticed that on the weekends we get a ton of people that are able to talk, but less people show up. But then on the weekdays, a ton of people show up because they can come in and listen, but then less people can actually talk. Mm, I got a good question. Why haven't you tried the 9x12 method CRM? It's a free trial now. Actually, I just leaked
I didn't know it's
information.
free.
I just leaked information
Oops.
I wasn't supposed to leak yet. That was supposed to come
That's all
out
right.
in a few days. But here I'll put the link for you guys. It's exclusive free trial period. Let's see. All right, I just put it in the chat. It's free trial. You don't even have to give your credit card. So if you hate the tool, just don't even ever come back and we won't have your information. So it's fine. You won't get automatically charged or anything. And you also will get higher access to Megamind in there, so you can ask it more questions. Ask it about what's a cool public event you can hold to gain clientele. It'll give you a good answer there.
Sorry, Mitch. I can't walk and chew bubble gum today because I was talking. What did you just send us? What was going on? You say you leaked something, and I guess we're the first to know about it or something. What was the statement?
It's the 9x12 method CRM. So it's a customer relationship management tool where you can actually hold all your contacts. You can actually manage your cards right there. You can attribute slots as like sold to certain contacts. You can send invoices directly from the CRM. All sorts of things. So you could set tasks that remind you to like follow up with certain contacts. So have you ever used a CRM before?
Yeah. Actually, I built my own, but I have this on my particular list, and when I seen the Megamind on that, so let me go ahead and try this actually, and maybe that could be something that could help me slim down some things. So yeah, I'll be signing up for that today. Absolutely, cool. I will keep doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's right in the chat, and it's a free trial. So if you don't like it, that's all right.
Okay. Okay.
Fee, what's the cost going to be on that? It's $47 a month after the trial, which you don't get automatically charged. You'll get prompted if you wanted to continue. And yeah, so it's basically everything a 9x12er would need in a CRM without all the fluff. Because I used to use high level, and I hated recommending high level to people because it takes weeks just to learn it because there's just so much stuff that you don't need. So we built something purely custom for the 9x12 method. And my favorite part is the card management feature where you can actually attribute slots as sold to your contacts. You could import their ads right there. So you could actually show what the card looks like, screenshot it, and send like a mock-up to your clients, all kinds of things you can do with it.
Right. I would even maybe stick with Bob if I guess if he has enough of a know, like, and trust factor with the person he was talking about, have them learn how to run that for him. And then I can't say that necessarily with that. I mean, that could justify splitting it in half, but I mean, he could do it himself. But that could be something that says, hey, I bought a tool, he can learn how to run it, and then it's a better help, or not better help, but this could help kind of justify that number versus the design, because in reality he doesn't need her for the design. I mean, if he has the templates and stuff, or utilize yourself. But yeah, that will be what I'm gonna do actually.
Thanks. I think when it comes to the CRM, I'd want that part. I want to do it because I'm going to be doing the follow-up. So I think the CRM part, I think I'll get started with that almost as soon as this meeting's over. Thanks. Cool. So thanks for the option.
Jacob has asked about calling businesses in confidence. And I think, can we touch on that a little bit too?
Calling businesses in confidence. I feel like I'm asking for money. Any advice for this? Okay. So it sounds like you need to sell yourself first. And if you go to our wins tab, somebody talked about a really sweet win that one of their business clients had. I think it was some sort of contractor, and they got a ton of business from the card. So go to the wins tab. You'll get a lot of inspiration there. It was Michael. Search up Michael Hager, and he posted about it. But you need to sell yourself on the value that you're providing. So businesses spend thousands of dollars on mail marketing. There's no question about it. And what you're doing is you're bringing the businesses together to split the cost. You're not selling anything. You're just providing the service that they would never have the time to do, which is to get round up 15 other kittens all at once, all put their money together in order to get this card shipped. So you're just collecting money and you're getting a little bit of a fee at the end of it, but you're providing a ton of value by decreasing the costs of marketing that they would otherwise have to spend because no business owners have the time to, collect 15 other businesses to go in with them. Otherwise, they might as well do the 9x12 method. It might as well be their business.
I think that having a belief in the card, which I believe in the card, I think it's a great thing.
Exactly. Yeah. You got to believe in it.
Mind if I make a statement?
Definitely.
Mitch?
Yeah.
So someone mentioned, I think someone said they had just, he might have jumped off about, he had just done his first card, but I remember I belonged to, wasn't a BNI, but it was a networking group, and it was only one of, one business owner, one person per category for this. And so everybody, we would meet every Wednesday, and we'd try to give each other leads and different things like that. And so I had a couple of business owners come to me and says, "Hey, Eric, in direct mail, I would definitely say, obviously not personally, but professionally, they're responsible probably about a half, three-quarter billion direct mail pieces." So they were like, "Hey, we're trying to get business out, so we're there." They said, so when I did, long story short, I did the 6x11 or whatever. So it was 3 businesses on one side, 3 businesses on the other. We mailed business to business. And it was part of, I've been about to get off the track, but it was part of just saying, "Hey, I believe in this. This is something that you guys are trying to do to get in front of these other businesses." So yeah, selling yourself as, if they feel that you don't believe it, then they're not going to believe it, and not everybody is going to believe it. But with anything with sales, they buy you before they buy the product or service. When you're talking about dealing with a human being, so if they can get them to know, like, and trust you. And particularly if you have a business that can be on the card yourself, you should always, if you can, take a spot on your own card. And that way. So I had something else, but I'm sorry. I kind of lost my mind. I was going 50 miles an hour on that. So, but yeah, definitely got to believe.
And I'd like to add. Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just going to say, I would like to add something. I have been, since I started a couple of months ago, I was striking out quite a bit. I have been contacting all the people who come in the Val Pack, and then I live in Buffalo, New York, and coupons are big here. So there's a lot of like coupon mailer kind of places. And Alexa, stop. She's telling me my dog wants a cookie. Anyway, so I've been contacting these people, and I've been trying to do this all from home and over direct message, text message, phone calls, that sort of thing, because I don't want to go out in the winter. Winters are long here. So I've not been doing very well with it. And I've started using it's new to me, this NEPQ. And I'm learning it all from YouTube because it's like $5,000 to buy the course, and I just don't have the budget for that. And so yesterday, I got on the phone with only two. I only called 2, and I closed them both. I was like, and there are people who are doing Valpak. So if you guys go watch some of those videos, I think you'll really find, I think the thing that we're doing is we're just talking too many features and benefits, and we're not talking to them about the solution to their problem. We're not even investigating what their problem is. And I think that is going to be a turning point for me. I really do. I mean, it can't just be a coincidence that yesterday's the first day I started using it, and same people that I've been trying to get from the same source, and I was able to close both the people who I talked to on an ad for $699.
Can
So,
you give us an example, Leah?
well, when I call them, he teaches you, and I actually, there's another person who had given me this advice before, but I didn't really understand it. So he says that when you call, take advantage of the human need that we all have to help other people. So act a little bit confused. And when you introduce yourself, do it in a tone that they are thinking to themselves, am I supposed to know this person? So I would say like, hi, Ralph, which is one of the ones I closed yesterday. Hey, Ralph, this is Leah. Leah from the Buffalo Spotlight. Like, he should know who I am, okay? And he's not thinking this is a telemarketer. He's thinking, how do I know this person? Who is this? And then I go, Ralph, I really am not sure if you are the person that I should be talking to. Can you help me out for just a minute? And because I said, can you help me out? Now, I'm not saying he's going to do whatever I ask him to do, but he's going to be willing to take a listen and see if he can help me out. And that is a huge, huge, huge way to open the call, because they spot telemarketers a million miles away. And you do too, don't you? Don't we all, when somebody calls us, don't we immediately know when it's a telemarketer? Well, I think that's what I sounded like. That's been my experience. I really didn't know any better. So like I said, I've been studying this on YouTube and just watching. There's lots of videos out there on it. NEPQ stands for Neuro Emotional Persuasion Questions. So then you just start asking questions and finding out about them. Forget about you. Forget about telling them about the postcard. Forget about any of that. Ask them how their business is doing. Asking, I heard something today on the other call. How do you get on people's radar? I really like that. That sounds like so friendly and non-pushy. Hey Ralph, how do you get on people's radar? That, I think that's really good. So just start asking them questions and letting them and lead them into identifying their problem, whether their problem is getting people in the door, whether their problem is, selling more products online. No matter what their problem is, help them identify the problem. And then again, using questions, you can lead them into identifying that your solution will change things for them. I mean, you might actually have to ask somebody. So if this is what you're saying is going on, what's going to happen if you don't change anything? All right, that really is a good one, because they're gonna like, their head is just gonna pop for a minute. Like, what is going to happen if I don't do anything about this? So it's worth spending a weekend studying. I'm telling you, it really is. I feel so much more confident. I don't feel like I'm going in there to push a postcard, because I do believe in our postcards. And like I said, there's a lot of coupon papers around here. Some of them, if I open it to try to prospect from it, I get ink all over my hands. There's nothing that has the quality of these cards that we're doing. There's just nothing else out there like it. People throw that stuff in the trash, and that, I really believe our postcard is different. So anyway, I just wanted to share that.
Just to add to that, I had a lady call me back. She actually told me, I don't even know why I called you back, because I have no money. She has it's kind of like a tutoring place, I'll just say, in that industry. And she had poured $80,000 of her savings into the place. And she said just 2 days prior, she decided to sell it. But I don't know if there was any way that I could have gotten a sale out of her. I figured if at the end I needed to fill a spot, I would give it to her for free. I don't know if anybody has any suggestions on that or not, but this, it's either they have enough business or I'm hearing that they have no money.
Well, everybody says they have no money. I mean, this lady might be telling the truth, but that's just a common objection. There is NEPQ PDF available through a person that's very famous for this, whose name I don't want to say because I don't make any money off of what he's doing. Well, I am indirectly, but he has a thing out, a PDF that's 50 objections and how to deal with each one of them. And I'm not finished going through it. I just got it yesterday, but it looks like it's really good.
Okay. And I do believe she probably didn't have any money because she was in tears.
Yeah, I've heard that story before. A lot of people do get themselves into that situation. They put their own money into something that isn't, that they didn't do the due diligence on. You feel bad for them.
Absolutely. At the end, she was just like, thank you for listening. And I'm sorry I poured my heart out to you, but I completely understand, it's hard sometimes.
Has she tried to sell the business?
She's looking for a buyer right now.
Well, maybe she could put it on your card.
That's an idea. That's a good idea.
Even if you gave it to her just at a break-even cost.
Yeah.
Actually, you could actually use that as a cautionary tale as you're talking to other business owners. If you're not trying to exploit her pain to someone else, but it could be something that you could be speaking to another business owner because she's not the only one who's experiencing that. I guess that's why those numbers are so high for businesses, particularly brick and mortar businesses going out of business within less than 5 years. Is that so? The majority of the time they don't have anyone to talk to, but I guess the one soliloquy is you could use that story without mentioning her name, without mentioning that business, as you're talking to other business owners, because again, you're talking from a business owner to another business owner that you get it, and the card is not going to save them. It better not be their Hail Mary, but you could utilize the card as a way to help kind of alleviate some of the trials and tribulations and pain that they're having of getting customer clients and patients.
You mean in trying to get them to purchase a spot, or?
Well, as you're talking, well, not yeah. I mean, eventually you're trying to get them to get a spot, but you're just giving them a scenario that you could say, hey, I can't mention the business owner's name or the industry that they're in, and I approach them and talk to them about the card. Great business. I think they would do very well on the card. And as I and this person got to speaking, found out that they had dumped their life savings in the business and things weren't working out because other than if they have bad customer service, not a great product, just failed at running a business, majority of businesses don't make it because they don't have enough people come and spending money with them. Period. So if they're not doing that, I mean, if they got all those other things that at least halfway in place or at least have some semblance of that it's working, they're just not getting enough people to either repeat business with them or get new customers or clients or patients to come in. So that's what the card is trying to help them to do, because it's like, and I'm saying this very respectfully to mention, I think somebody else, well, I guess you would know on this call, if you're a real estate agent and you're talking to a real estate agent and you're asking them how they get business and they say they get all of their business from referrals, we know that is not absolutely not true, or they're one of the worst real estate agents that there is, because not everyone is looking to buy a house or sell a house or a commercial property, whatever the case it may be. And whoever's giving them the referral is not thinking about them all the time unless a scenario comes up. So I say that to say this: if a business just has one track of how they're getting business, they are eventually doomed to fail. Particularly if you are somewhere that you're paying a lease and you got to buy inventory, whatever, employees. So they're not in the business doing what it is that they're doing. They're in the business of marketing what it is that they're doing. And then that's another, effectively in the right target market and ICP and all that type of stuff. But, you can then ask them, so, how many new, what does it say, customers, they call the people customers. How many new customers would you need to come in on a monthly basis that would take some pressure off you? So it kind of goes back to, I think what Leah was saying, Jeremy is an awesome guy. I've popped in his office a couple of times, talked to him and his staff. Great NEQP. Absolutely. I've actually utilized that before I even heard of him in my industry. But yeah, you're trying to find, talk to them about their pain point and trying to give them at least some semblance of a solution. You're not the Hail Mary, but you could say, hey, hey man, if I could just get 2 extra clients a month, or customers, that would really help me, depending on the business, and then say, hey, excuse me, let's look at it that way. So you're coming from a place of helping, not trying to sell them something. And then, like you said, you ask, hey, what happens, or what does that look like if that doesn't happen? Well, yeah, I'd have mortgaged my house to the hilt. I'd have borrowed money from friends and family, all those things. So if you're showing that you truly care, which you should, then that can definitely help in eliminating that you're just trying to come in and sell them, something. I mean, because at the end of the day, we all are, just like they would try to sell you if you walked in a restaurant or place of business, and if you decide not to buy, they're trying to tell you why you should buy, why they're the best place, or whatever the case may be. Same difference, but if they approach you in a way that says, hey, this is something that can help you do whatever or alleviate whatever pain point that you're having or what keeps you up at night, then it's probably a little less advantageous in the process of getting them to buy. 2 cents.
Yeah, that's good advice, Eric.
Yeah, no, I probably should have maybe inquired a little bit more about, well, like what you said, how many more customers would you need? And, just try to do some reverse engineering, I guess, and figure out what it would take. Thank you, Eric.
Hey, Kim, does she have the kind of business that maybe you could help her plan some sort of an event where she could do enough money to raise the money to advertise on the card?
I'm sure. I mean, it's tailored for kids, and I think that is attractive to a lot of people with smaller children, for sure.
Yeah, maybe help her plan. I don't mean to do it, but to plan something. Do you use ChatGPT, Kim?
I do, and I have been, yes.
So what I did was I went in and I asked ChatGPT to make me a phone script, a voicemail message, a DM message, and an email. It already knows what it knows about me, and to do it in the style of Jeremy Miner using NEPQ. And then I just tweaked that so that it fit, me. And that's probably going to give you a really good idea about what this is all about if you're interested in that.
Okay, I will definitely. I have been using it for some of the scripts, but like you mentioned, a few others, like the cold call.
Yeah.
If you work with a lady and let her know, hey, the perfect thing about advertising is that it brings in new customers, which will, brand awareness that she has this service. But also, if she's looking at selling it, if it's profitable, it makes it much easier to sell, So it's a way that she can show that, that the newcomer, can make money off of that. And then also another thing is, I mean, maybe you could do it as well. We can, if there's an area that does homeschooling, or especially right now while kids are out of school, now would be a great time for her to advertise to keep those skills sharp, where, you know, kind of more like get kids ahead for the next season, you know, or the next year at school. So there's lots of ways that you can spend it. You want to spend the end result and not focus on the money. Well, it's $300 to do, you know, the ad. Just be more focused on, hey, you know, have you thought about this service for other areas, you know, or kind of trying to be more creative with that.
And I did think about that actually. You mentioned that. I thought about, well, you know, she probably would get more money if her business was profitable. Of course, then she probably wouldn't sell, right? But she is a franchise, and I I I don't know how franchises work. I've heard they uh, take a big portion of your profits. So I'm sure that probably does not help her cause at all.
Yeah, franchises, you have to pay regardless. If you're a franchisee, they they don't care what's going on. Because I've worked with working for Verizon. I've worked with a lot of franchisees, and you know, that bill is due every month, and some are helpful franchisors. A lot of them, can't say a lot of them are not, but some are not. But yeah, you have that egg to crack to them every month, and it's different in different industries. Of, you know, some of them, which by the way, if you have, here's a good nugget. If you have a particular franchisee that can do some things on their own, because some franchisees have to get approval from their franchisors, which, side note on that, if you can help them with that, they may say, hey, you know, I'm a franchisee of this, you know, of this brand branch, and I can connect you with them, and you can show them how this could help their franchisee. That might lead to other franchisees coming on board. And also with, like with Verizon, I'm not saying it's with every franchise business, but a lot of franchisors will give franchisees co-op dollars to spend on marketing. So take, for instance, like bars with liquor. There's a lot of liquor companies that will give bars and restaurants co-op dollars to market for that specific product, or products if they have several products, but to get business in. So that might be a way for just anybody on this call. If you run across that, they may not be able to make a decision, but if it's a franchise, the franchisor may be able to come in and says, okay, yeah, we'll give you, you know, this amount of money to advertise. Because like with Verizon, they didn't care what, like on digital billboards, they didn't care what store it was, because they're at the end of the funnel, but they would give the franchisee co-op dollars to market with. That is definitely a golden nugget for sure. I would say, if I could use that terminology, for sure. They definitely, not everyone, but someone would do, and you can inquire about that. If some business owners don't even know, they're like, I don't know, or maybe they kind of said something like, hey, you know, if I can help, you know, with that, that would be a way that you're not coming out of pocket with any money. The franchisor will pay for it.
So
may not work every time.
So thank you for that, Eric. No. I'm sorry.
You're welcome.
You also made me think about, you know, franchises is something that I think that I was a little confused upon, and I wonder, do some of these franchisees know that these things are offered by the franchisor, and is it easy to get through to the franchisor on their behalf? possibly.
Well, some do and some don't. I guess if I could say that in general, I would know with everything. So I'll give you a perfect example. I at one point in time had the largest Subway franchisee in my state as a client from a marketing agency, and it was Subway. And this franchisee had 67, I think, locations. And they were complaining because we kind of know, I mean, it's always kind of been like that for the franchisee, but it was kind of doing the $5 foot long. And, you know, the average franchisee was only making, it was under like 50 cents for every Subway that they sandwich that they sold for the foot long. They still had to buy all the supplies, all the meat, everything from Subway. They couldn't buy it from another vendor, even though it was the same meat or bread, but they were locked in their contract. So how I got them was by a referral. And what we did is I looked at the contract and seen just where they could do marketing on their own that wouldn't violate their contract. And then that's all that we did for them, was just did whatever not whatever, but we had a plan that we could, based on the contract, if they did this and did this on their own, they would not violate their contract. So spin around. If I get back to Verizon, some of our franchisees were very savvy. They read the contract. They stayed in contact. If they sold so many devices, we would give them so many thousands of dollars to their pocket and to, you know, help with marketing. So I can't give you exact answer, Ms. Kim, for everybody, but some of them they just don't even know. It might be their first franchise and they bought it because they had a little money from their 401k and whatever, and they would think, oh, I heard franchising was great, and they got into the business, but they really weren't savvy enough business owners to find out what it is that they can't do, and where potentially other additional money to come from. So as you're talking to these, if you're talking to particularly a franchisee, you're asking those kind of questions because again, you're coming from an aspect of wanting to know, of working with them as a business owner to business owner. So you know the card is secondary. You're really, you know, just trying to be another peer that they can vent to and talk to if they're willing to, if you build some rapport with them, and they may give you that type of information, and then you might could say, hey, you know what, let's you know look, or maybe you want to pull out your contact or call your district manager and kind of, you know, find out for those things. So now you're being a trusted source versus potentially, as Dan Kennedy said, unwanted pest in that aspect of it, because you are trying to bring value to them, and they may not even know it. They were like, "Wow, I had no idea."
You know,
Because some franchise. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, you know, it's not just franchises. I worked in the construction industry prior to 2008, and I worked specifically for flooring. And those stores too, they have like Mohawk. A lot of the brands give them co-op dollars. Also, my daughter is a nurse, and I know that doctors' offices get money from pharmaceutical companies for advertising. I don't know if they call it co-op. And also, hair salons get co-op dollars from the brands that they carry for retail. So if you got somebody who sells, I don't know what's popular right now, I'm Paul Mitchell, I don't know. Paul Mitchell might have advertising money for them too. And a lot of them don't know it. A lot of them don't know it. And a lot of times the businesses don't even tell them about it unless they ask, you know, because they'd rather not give that money away, but they will, you know, they do it. So it never hurts to ask the business that you're talking to whether they have, especially if they have products, if they have co-op dollars available to them.
This is awesome. I think this is what brings value to us right here.
That is
The other
absolutely.
thing. Sorry.
I would
Go ahead.
say, I'm sorry if they don't if they are having on their shelves or it doesn't happen. I'm just using a shelf as a proverbial statement. But if they have particular brands or companies that supply them with things that they're not just buying it from like a wholesale, like okay, you like Paul Mitchell, okay, and you're selling Paul Mitchell in our store. You have a contract with us. Yeah, they can go and ask them and says, hey, do you by any chance, have any marketing, dollars that I could use to? I mean, obviously they want you to, promote their stuff. Paul Mitchell doesn't want you to promote the salon. It wants you to promote that you carry Paul Mitchell. If we could just use that as an example. Yeah. But a lot of companies and they don't, businesses don't know that, like Leah said, that money is out there because some companies will say something, some don't, because if they don't say anything, that's more money that they get to keep and earn interest off of. And you know what I'm saying? You don't scream and go holler type deal. And so if they could find that out, then that would be awesome. So that could be another avenue to someone. So if you wouldn't necessarily but position yourself as a consultant, because that's kind of that's what I do, position myself as a consultant to truly kind of help them to find a way to help themselves. Then you're bringing that additional value to them, because you're not the salesperson that's just popping in trying to sell an ad, and if they don't get the ad or you don't buy, they're moving on to the next business. You're really trying to be a know, like, and trust source and value. And even if it doesn't happen right then, they may remember you later on down the line. Or if someone, could call you and says, hey, my name is John. Hey, John, how are you? Great. Hey, Kim owns this business. I don't know if you remember Kim, but she told me to give you a call because we were having a coffee or brunch or part of a BNI group, and I kind of have a situation that I'm trying to figure out, and that's how, things could kind of snowball from that point, because that's actually how I started my company. As I was working for Verizon, I was trying to figure out how I was going to escape corporate, and I was getting calls from people that said, hey, my name is Kim. Hey, Kim, how are you? Hey, John? John who? John XYZ. I know John. Hey, this is my business. I'm starting a business, and I was wondering if I could pick your brain for a minute. And I literally would close my door to the office and talk to him. And then after about the sixth person, I told my wife at the time when I was married, I was like, I think this is going to be how I can get out of corporate America. And then that's how I started my company in 2009.
Hey, I just asked ChatGPT what kinds of businesses get co-op dollars, and I did it as a temporary chat, and I was going to try to share it, but I lost it. But it said appliance stores. Go ask that question to ChatGPT. It came up with a big list of people who get co-op money.
The other thing I wanted to mention is, did you ask her what all services that she provides? Because, I mean, is it just like tutoring for kids? Maybe branch out and have adult tutoring services, like, a lot of adults have literary needs like that they need to work on. Also, maybe adults that are changing professions. She's got, maybe some things, like how to create a resume, or how to do interviews. She can modify or add services to what she's already creating, to help create more income coming in and make it a more viable business, more lucrative. Because my guess is she's probably trying to sell because she's not making any money. And yes, there are the fees, but once she starts seeing that there are other opportunities, and she's not just limited to tutoring kids, that there's a whole field of things that she could do with this. She's already got the foundation set up. Maybe she might stay in business, or, maybe she brings on a partner, a silent partner to help her out. Another thing is has she already gone and talked to like the schools and gotten set up with schools, for tutoring and advertise in those areas? Or maybe she can co-op with like bookstore, or wherever they sell educational materials. Hey, can you put my name out there, type thing, and I'll use your supplies from you. We'll go back and forth. Like, these are all options, creative options.
Yes, no, those are good ideas. And I have thought about like the schools. I don't know. I know franchises, they do have strict rules sometimes. So I don't know if she could do the adult, but I'm gathering as much info as I can. And then I'm going to go back to her. I planned on calling her back anyway because she's on my heart. So keep thinking about it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. She may not end up being a client based on the situation that's going on. And like Margaret said, some of them, some are, Kim, like I said, some franchisees, there's only certain things that they can do. So she could be stuck in a rock and a hard place, and she might be too far gone down that she has to sell the business. But it will definitely give you a practice for other scenarios. And again, you could maybe again use her as a cautionary tale without mentioning the industry or the name. But let's say there are things that she could do, because even though you can't Hail Mary still save her business, ask her, say, currently, and you may have already asked Kim, how do you currently get business? And she can kind of lay out, oh, we did this, or this, or whatever it may be. And then you can kind of understand where, it might be just they say, hey, you got the franchisee, everything else, the franchise, everything else is on you. You have to determine how to get the business. And that's an ouch, but it happens, unfortunately. Yeah, it happens. But
Yeah. But if I could help her in any way, even if she knows that other business owners, it could also be a good referral as well. So I'm thinking about it, from the aspect of I care, and I want to help, and will it help me too as well? Not just for will it help me, but
I don't know how we end the podcast, or maybe we jump off, because I think it's kind of. I think I read enough that he had to step away. But this is great for people and communities to learn. That's how you learn things, and help yourself and help other the people in Kansas. So it's been a great for me. I've learned quite a few things, and we'll be applying a few things. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, me
thank
too.
you, Eric.
Thank you. You're welcome.
You're welcome. So I am in the school group, and I guess I should be probably more proactive in the group. But if someone ever has any questions or something, I'm in the school group. Feel free to reach out to me, or if you want to talk on the phone or whatever, feel free to do that as well. So I invite anybody.
I'll add you to my follow list.
Yeah, well, do that. And I'll follow you back. Absolutely. And I do truly say I want all of us to win, and it is a good, a good business. A lot of people just are, afraid of failure or starting something new. And I mean, there's all kind of things I guess you could be doing to earn income. But I call it like don't.
It is scary.
To be biased. Don't make it a Uber driver hustle. I mean, because this could be totally different, or you have to Uber to help pay for some stuff, do that, and then you can flip it to running a business. You don't want to be on the hustle culture forever. That's just another job that you might just well be your own business owner. If you're going to be bringing in revenue, might as well run your own business. It's not for the faint of heart, but it's definitely something that you can do, and it's not really labor intensive or not labor intensive. It's just caring and having a process, and it's really just about getting the card filled and being able to use Mitch or Jake stuff to help ship stuff out. Then you're good, and then everything else that could go along from there.
Yeah. And I already am using the CRM too. So you guys make sure you take that free trial.
Yeah. How do you like it, Leah? How do you like it?
Well, I've used other CRMs. I had a marketing agency. You said you were old. I'm really old. I'm retired. Okay. I retired, but I traveled for 3 years and I spent a lot of my money that I had saved. So, I need to put that back. So that's why I'm not doing marketing services. I'll build a website maybe, but I can't keep up with the young kids with all the changes that there is now in SEO and social media marketing. And I can't keep up with all. I don't even want to keep up with that anymore. I feel burnout just thinking about it. So I'm only doing, I knew Jake first. I've known Jake for very long time. But I just started doing the 9x12. So I'm doing printing through Jake. I'm doing the 9x12. I'll build a website. I'll advise people, but I'm not doing that work anymore. That's just, it's too much anymore. Back when I started, it was like 2008, the internet was new, but I've been selling online since 1999, like on eBay. So I've been online for a really long time. And I started an agency in 2008 when the bottom fell out of my full-time work in the flooring business for new construction. And so I went back to school under Obama, had a plan where you could go back to school, and I learned web design and graphic arts. And I started an agency. I knew SEO from doing eBay. I learned SEO like by accident. So I started doing all that, and I did that until 2021. And then I bought a big fancy RV and traveled for 3 years and lost my butt on the RV and the traveling. And now I'm back. Now I'm 68 and back to working. So, but if you're just sitting home and you're retired, this is a great job. It really, really is a great job because it's not physically demanding. I have my Alexa scheduled to tell me every 2 hours to get up and stretch because you can sit for too long. That's a downside. But I like this business model. I really, really like this business model, and I really do believe in it. And I really think we are helping people. Sometimes we just have to help them see that. And I know that Mitch and Jake both teach, it's a numbers game. I don't see it that way. I think you're going to retain more people when you're truly trying to help them and not just sell another spot. So I hope I'm right. It helped me in my business. But, one more thing I want to say. We were talking about going to BNI groups, and I said there's a new networking group called Liberty. How I started my agency, I never sold. I never one time made a phone call to anybody who I wasn't calling back. I went to I lived in Charleston, South Carolina at that time, and I went to the Charleston real estate investors meetings. And because I knew there were service people who went there, because what do real estate investors need? They need flooring people, they need roofers, they need all home service people. So I knew it was a good source. Well, the guy that ran the group, and again, marketing was still pretty new at this time. This was like 2009. He started asking me to teach segments of the group at the real estate investors group. And the people just flocked to me. And then referrals came, and I grew a really good business. It's like $150,000 a year. I was clearing $150,000 a year. So some people, maybe that's not good money, but to me, that's good money. And so that's how I started. So look for those opportunities too, where you can get in front of a group because when you get in front of a group and you are seen as the teacher, the authority, that the business just comes. So, I just heard Mitch say, I just asked him in the chat when I first hopped on, I said, what's this new AI thing in the CRM? Because there's a new thing. I thought it was just for asking questions about the 9x12, how to kind of thing. And then I heard him say, ask it about planning an event. And I'm going to check that out, see what he's got going in there. But if you can get in front of a group, it's so much easier than just trying to sell one-on-one. So think about that too, as a cool way to. Real estate people have meetings all the time. Lots of companies have like rah meetings where you could go in and get people motivated. So think about that. I think that's all I got though for now.
Well,
I can't believe it's late.
Yeah, no, all right. But it helps. Community definitely helps, because if you feel like you're on an island, you tend to not do anything if you don't have support. And that's what I like about Mitch and Jake, is just having to support and other community members, so you're not on an island by yourself, because then you can speak to people who get it. Like we're trying to speak to other business owners and says, hey, I get it, I understand. Even though we're not in the same industry, as a business owner, I totally understand what you're going through, which is, what those groups. So if you're not afraid to be in front of groups, or be in a BNI group or a Liberty group, I'll have to check and see if there's something like that in where I live at. Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah, groups are always looking for speakers. So if you're not afraid to get up, I was scared, but after the first one, it wasn't so bad.
Right. Yeah. As I say, picture them all naked. That's a bad. I come from, but that's probably not what I don't want to be picturing. No clothes on. But
well, with the way that housing prices are, all over the country right now, and such a shortage of homes, you could do an all real estate investor card. I'm just thinking off by the top of my head right now, but all those properties, you could do a whole card with just those kinds of properties and send it out to people. Everybody knows somebody who wants a home but can't afford the prices right now.
Yeah, and a lot of them do direct mail. That's typically one of their main sources for reaching guys, is direct mail. Obviously, they do social media and YouTube ads, things like that, if they got any funding. But yeah, they do direct mail. They do. They definitely do.
Yeah.
Definitely do.
All right, I gotta run. Thanks, you guys.